People love shiny things. And their horses are no different, and they do want the best looking one. And yeah, that's what the aim is, to really get them looking their best.
We're a big stud, a 1,200 acre stud farm, so it's one of the biggest in the UK, and we've got 1,000 acres of pasture, so we carry about 110 mares on the place all year round. And they're a mixture of our own mares and clients, but the one thing that we all have in common is they're all pretty commercial in terms of taking their stock to the sale. So we kind of saw it coming. We had quite a large crop of foals last year, and we knew that the majority of those would be aimed at the yearling sale. So here we are with quite a large number. But luckily we've got an incredible infrastructure here to be able to cope with it, and I've got a great team of people to do the job as well.
We don't keep them in overnight when they're youngsters. They live out in their groups. So some of them take a while to adapt to being in overnight in the boxes. And then, yeah, getting used to brushing and everything, and just all the little things. It can take some horses a couple of weeks. Some horses can come in and just, love this straight away. Really enjoy this routine. But then there's others who just don't enjoy it so much, and they can start losing weight, and then you're kind of stressing about that. And then there's others that are putting on too much weight because they don't really care and they're really relaxed. So yeah, there's plenty of factors that can go wrong, really. A lot of our work is done on the walker here. We're quite lucky with the walkers we have here. We're able to trot them on it, and it keeps the trot at a really structured, maintained pace. You take away the human error from when you're lunging them. Once they get used to the trotting, they tend to stay at that pace constantly. There's no kind of stopping or starting or suddenly deciding they want to do a canter or something. They actually learn it quite quickly, which is good. They do an hour on the walker to do a warm-up of around 20 minutes walking, and then they do a trot for 20 minutes, and then they cool down for 20 minutes. And then to the paddocks. They just go on the walk, or they tend to kind of miss going to the paddock and having a run around and having a route around the grass looking for food, and it's just their natural way of going, isn't it? Foraging around, and we find that it's very good for their brains. There is a risk. There's always a risk putting them out when they're quite fresh, and you're feeding them quite a lot more this time of the year, and you're getting them fitter. But I think if you can balance them properly with the exercise and the turnout, I think it works quite well. These are two Frankel colts. You got two Frankels, a Kingman, a Far. There's another Kingman over there, No Nay Never, and Kitten's Joy colt. So these all come out, and they spend about an hour and a half out in the paddocks. When we're turning them out, we tend to bring them into the corners. Like these four guys will come into this corner here because they're all friends, and you try to let go at the same time. It tends to reduce the accidents. And yeah, we've introduced the pots. They get fed outside in these pots when they're all living together, so they know exactly what they are. And it's only a small bit of food. It's just to distract them from all running around at the exact same time. Some of the guys are straight into the pot. Someone might run around and then come to the pot after, but it's really helped them settle in the paddocks more, which is good, because you want them to have nice downtime out here. It's meant to be their time to relax and just take a breather and just spend some time on their own. And it's usually just because they're feeling good. It's not because they want to jump out or anything, but they forget how good they're feeling, and yeah, just get too excited really. And we want them to look as good and feel brilliant and be fit, but also we want them to be nice and relaxed and quiet. So it's a really hard balance. You know, they're bred to run as fast as they can, but we just want them to walk.
Yeah.
So it can be tricky. Yeah, so the feed is probably one of the most important parts of yearling prep. It's quite a big component of building the muscle. We're getting them doing a lot of exercise, but you need good feed to really to act with that. We like to feed as many times as we can, really split it up. So they'd have a small meal in the morning. They'd have lunch then, which would be not the biggest meal of the day. The PM feed, which would be around 4 o'clock, would be their biggest feed, and then they'd get fed again then at night. So they're on quite a high protein diet, prep mix we feed, and they get added stuff like alpha, which is good to add bulk to the feed, and it's good for their digestive system. It's pretty straightforward. We try not to make it too complicated. The more complicated you make it for the horses, they can suddenly stop eating, or if there's too much, if you give them too much, their appetite might come down. As the workload goes up, they get more food, and then also as they become the kind of more finished article, you can kind of take a step back just before the sales. You don't want to be pumping them with loads of food, because just before the sales as well, also we'll reduce the workload on the horses, because you don't want to be firing around lunge pits and trotting them quite hard, because you're almost there. You just want to get them up to the sales and get them there safely and soundly.
We're fortunate because most of the horses that we are prepping are horses that we've born and raised here, and there's probably 6 out of 72 that weren't born and raised here, and everything is prepped here that we take to sale. We don't meet anything at the sale, so we know the horses pretty well, but we are getting these horses ready for sale almost from the day they're born. You know, we know that with a good sales horse is the correct horse, an athletic horse with a good temperament. So they get looked at very carefully to look at their conformation, and we try and make sure their conformation stays as good as possible, doesn't go wrong, and if it does go wrong, we quickly get on top of it. We try and make sure that they're well handled, so their temperament is good. We try and make sure that they have the best environment to grow and develop as athletes. So before we even start the prep, hopefully we've got the raw materials are there, and then it's a question of taking the horses and having a look at them and say, right, okay, in 10 weeks' time, what do we want this horse to look like? Where is he a little bit in the weak area? Where could he be improved? What could be better? We don't look at them and say, oh, that's a nice horse, give ourselves a pat on the back and walk away. We have to look at the negatives and say, what can we do to make this horse better?
The grooming is another, I know I keep saying it, but it's a big part of yearling prep. You know, everyone wants the shiniest horse at the sales, and yeah, so it's a lot of effort. They get groomed in the afternoon, a bit of everything really, curry comb, brushing, and it does tend to help with kind of relaxing muscles and everything like that as well. So it has a lot of benefits, grooming.
You get nervous when a horse goes into a race. You get nervous when a horse goes into the ring. Sometimes you walk up there and you just know it's going to be fine. And sometimes you just go up there and you know it's going to be awful. and there's occasionally someone sticks their hand up and you go, oh my God, thank God for that. But you're never quite sure what's going to happen. So yeah, look, a good result in the sales ring is always a great deal of satisfaction for the team that we've done a good job and people seem to share our enthusiasm for the horse. But ultimately, it's about breeding racehorses, and what is the best thing is seeing those horses go and win races and group races.
Yeah, so since you were here last, we've increased, the work has really increased, and we've kind of been tweaking feed just for certain horses, kind of some horses just to put on a bit more condition just to carry into the sales, some then to just really back off food, and also exercises now starting to kind of wind down a bit. At the moment now they've stopped going out to the paddocks. We're a week out now, so we kind of, you can't wrap them up in cotton wool, but we want to try and protect them for this last week, because any cuts or bangs now would, if they're bad, it could stop us from going to the sale. This horse is just in for a lunge today. We'll start him off, we'll just let him find his feet, and he'll start doing a bit of trotting, and then he'll just gradually bring him into a canter. As you can hear, the whip is just used as an aid. Just a little crack of the whip tends to do the job, just to encourage the horse to go forward. It's used very sparingly. They do a bit on both reins, because it's important for the sales. They must hear their wind on both reins, left and right. Because you may have some horse that could make no noise on the left rein, but then you swap them to the right rein and they make a noise. So that's why both reins are checked. And we'd exercise them on both reins in the lunge pay every day. It helps them get their backs down. They can have a kick in the buck, and they tend to enjoy it really. Good lad. Okay, big man. It's okay. Good boy. Good lad. The scoping is, they'll do a lot of it during their life. In racing yards, they'll probably get scoped quite a bit to check that everything is all right. And you don't need to do it an awful lot at this young age. They'd probably get one when they come in to start prep, just to check the function of the throat and to see the health of it. If someone has an infection, like a reaction to some straw when they come into living inside in the barn, compared to spending most of their time out on grass. So we'll just check for things like that, and then we are able to then compare that with the final scope, which we do before they go to the sales, a video scope.
I'm Ian Cameron from Rossdale's Vets in Newmarket. So we're just down the scope to horse, and for that we're looking at function of the larynx. This is a really important aspect of the horse being able to fulfill its potential as a racehorse in terms of being able to bring in as much air into the lungs as we possibly can. If the larynx operates really well, the horse is able to take in a massive amount of air. If this is reduced by a poor functioning larynx, the horse can't take in so much air into its lungs, can't supply its muscles with oxygen, and therefore has a poorer chance of being able to be a successful racehorse. No, yeah, the horses, they tolerate things so well. There's some that find it more difficult than others, but it's not painful. It's just a bit irritant getting the scope up their nose sometimes. And, amazing how they handle it, really. Yeah, they do well.
You know, we've got full brother to an ARC winner, which is very exciting, and we've always really liked him, and he's doing quite well. He's come through prep really well, and we're hoping he'll go up there and show himself well. And yeah, he's really exciting, and we all have favourites. If you ask anyone in the barn, they'll pick out one horse in particular that they just love grooming or handling, and they all have a soft spot for someone. I think that's important as well, because the bond between the person and the horse is very important. That person then will get the best out of that horse, because they have, like I say, a soft spot for him, and they give that horse quite a bit of time. And when the horse might be a bit silly as well, they'll also be more patient with it, because it is their probably favourite horse.